guys? How is it going tonight? Good to see everybody who is here. Go ahead and let me know who is already in the chat hanging out with us tonight. But it is a good post-draft Monday, and I am very, very happy to be here with you guys hanging out. So let me know what is going on. We have Tom here. Excited to be live tonight with us. Appreciate you being here, Tom. It's good to see you, bud. And then if you guys have any pressing post NFL draft questions, this is going to be the perfect time to discuss those. Love to have some good discussion. And we are also going to be going through and doing a live fast draft of the Data Driven Dynasty League number 2. The league was drafted live on a live stream on this channel, and now we are doing the same thing with their rookie draft. And so that is going to be exciting to see, and I will be putting out my own rookie rankings later this week. Excited to talk about things and really dive into where we should be drafting these rookies and also overall rookie draft strategy moving forward. So some exciting stuff coming up, and I am super excited to get to talk some dynasty, some rookies, and some rookie draft with you guys. We have Good Jungle. What's up? World Series MVP in the Discord, by the way. What is up, my friend? I see that you like League of Legends and fantasy football, so I hope that fantasy football is better for your mental health than League of Legends. With the and I say that because let's see here. Let's see. I was hoping. That I could get the comments up on screen tonight. I was working on doing the overlay thing, and I don't think it's quite set up. I'm glad, and Good Jungle saying that fantasy football is definitely better for his mental health. So that's fantastic. Good to hear. I'm trying to, this is the first run of the getting the overlay or the comments on the chat. And so I will do my best to get this all set up. Let's see. Okay, I am, again, just trying to work on getting those comments up on the screen for you guys. Tom says that feels like we get into dart throw territory before we hit the third round. Yeah, and I definitely agree with that. I think that we are hitting dart throw territory like in the early second, to be completely honest, with some of these players. Just like a player like Ty Simpson, he's going like late first, and last year we were getting Jackson Dart, better prospect statistically and stuff, like mid-second, right? Early mid-second, like the 203, 204, right? Like not like the very beginning of the second most of the time, but like just a little bit more towards the middle. And so it really is kind of just a shame, because we are getting just like that's just the entire draft basically outside of the top like couple players, and even then it's like the Tate, Lemon, and Simpson are guys that I think would normally be like, that's the 102 through 104. I feel like those guys are normally like 104 through 106. like what's where they would be in like a more, average draft class, just slid down a little bit, and then like Boston, Mendoza, and Sadiq, Price probably also would be slid down a little bit, like a couple of picks. So, and it just keeps going throughout the draft, like, and the further you go with these rookie drafts, the further off it kind of gets, right? So where by the time you make it to like the mid to late second, feels like late third round type players in these rookie drafts. Okay, I'm going to try one more thing to get the comments up on screen, and if not, I'll have to troubleshoot another time, maybe do a private stream or something to get this sorted out. It's hard to test whenever you are just not actually able to get up on the stream and just do it. Okay, Good Jungle says, really excited to see your rookie rankings. I appreciate that. I have the 103, but also have Chris Olave, so I'm a little lost. I guess you're thinking Ty Simpson there with the 103. That is definitely a shot you can take. Let's see here. Okay, well, it is just not finding a source for my channel to do the live stream source. So I guess we're just not gonna have comments tonight, which is unfortunate, but we do what we do. So feel free to throw any questions that you guys have down in the chat, and we can discuss like situations, players, right? Some of these like later round guys, we can have some discussion, like aftermath for higher profile players as well. Be happy to do all of that discussion with you guys. But if we don't have questions, I do have a little something that I was going to talk about before we get to the rookie draft. And basically, it's just kind of reviewing the pre-draft buys that I threw out there in a video about a week and a half ago. And so the first is I mentioned Devon Achane and how their difference was, or their offense was going to look significantly different going into the going in after the rookie draft, after the NFL draft, going into the training camp cycle, the rookie draft cycle, things like that. And so I am fairly excited about, or I guess I'm a little disappointed, but still, like a little excited with what the Dolphins did in the draft. They traded down a ton. They were definitely in the position to draft some higher profile offensive players. But I mean, taking an offensive tackle with, I think it was like the 12th overall pick, because they traded with the Cowboys, that's going to be good for like the entire offense just as a whole. The run game really feels like the Dolphins built through the trenches in the early rounds, the first and second round. Let's see, actually, I just don't want to give you guys wrong information. Yeah, so I guess linebacker, CB, that's not like technically building through the trenches, because it's not like they're not D linemen, but offensive line and then like defense were definitely the things that the Dolphins attacked in this draft, taking tackle in the first, cornerback in the late first, linebacker in the second, and then also taking edge, another linebacker, a safety in like the fourth and fifth rounds. So but of course the more exciting thing is offensive side of the ball. They did take Chris Bell. I like Chris Bell. I liked him in the like pre-draft process, the evaluation process. Obviously not as much as like Cooper, Boston, any of those guys, of course, but he was, I think, like my 8th favorite wide receiver coming in, and so I'm glad that they were able to secure a guy like Chris Bell. Also got Caleb Douglas, not a guy that I honestly know a ton about at this point, but I mean, they took him in the early 3rd round. Yeah, big guy, plays through contact really well. Pardon me. But I mean, that's just another weapon added on offense. Then we have Will Kamrick, Akmerick, I'm not quite sure how you say his name, like a tight end though, also in the 3rd round. So they took like wide receiver, and tight end in the 3rd round, and that's just reassuring. That there are at least some additional weapons, some upside shots. These guys could be something, they could be nothing, of course. We're talking 3rd round wide receiver prospects. But it is something, and I think it does tell us that the Dolphins do want to run the ball a lot. So it doesn't look as good as I was hoping for Achane. I was hoping that they would take a higher profile wide receiver prospect than Chris Bell with one of those 1st or 2nd round picks, but they didn't. But again, getting a high-end offensive tackle, I think, is going to be a net positive, though, for Achane. So although I don't think this was quite like a hit, it's just, it's just kind of what's up. Let's see. JMO says, what's up? Where would you rank Jay Coleman in a rookie draft? Yeah, so let's see. Let me go to my list. Man, I mean, I think that I think I would still have him as like a early 2nd, like 201, 202 type guy. I still want like the really good wide receiver prospects over Coleman, and I mean, he's just gonna be behind. I want Ty Simpson going 13 to the Rams. I want Stowers, I think, ahead of Coleman as well, as long as there's like a tight end premium. In a non-tight end premium league, Coleman would be above Stowers. But I mean, just a crowded running back room. Again, very rare that the Broncos have consolidated the touches, and so just, it's not like a bad landing spot. It just feels like his ceiling is going to be pretty capped in that offense for the foreseeable future. Not that I'm like, oh, Harvey's amazing, Dobbins is amazing. They're both just solid running backs, and just with all 3 of those guys, even if Coleman was like emerged as the RB1, I mean, I'd still probably think that he wouldn't get more than like 55 to 60% of the opportunity in that offense, and that's like just like an absolute ceiling outcome case for Coleman. So I'd say it's again, not good, not bad. That's almost exactly where I have Coleman. I had Coleman pre-draft. It's just that he took a little bit. He dropped like 1 spot because Ty Simpson got much better draft capital than we were thinking. Honestly, I'm still thinking about Stribling, how much I want to just like trust the 49ers and shoot for the upside, and how much I want to trust like the pre-draft evaluation, the analytics, because like the draft capital is just so important, and in hit rates and things like that, but I still don't like the player, so I'm still playing with Stribling. I think that he's going to be a guy that I'm going to want to take like a late 2nd round pick, which is honestly still a pretty like gross range. I just think Pearsall is better than Stribling if he could stay healthy, and then Mike Evans, of course, is going to be there this season, and I think that the 49ers probably take if they don't have Ayuk, they don't have Jennings, they're rolling into 2027 with Mike Evans, Pearsall, and Stribling. They probably take another swing at wide receiver next offseason. So this is just one of those guys where it feels like Jalen McMillan, where we're like, oh, he could come into this opportunity when maybe Mike Evans moves on or retires or something, just like in Tampa. But then he's just not that good a prospect. I don't expect good things for him. So if he were to suddenly be thrust into a situation where he was the wide receiver one, I just don't trust that the 49ers would want to, or I guess have a large role, be like a 1A or 1B. I just don't think that they would want to keep him, have him as that in their offense, because he's not it. In my evaluation. Let's see. I think my camera's a little wobbly. Fortunate. Not sure why. Tonight. But yeah, I hope that answers your question, JMO. I'm curious what you think on Stribling. If you have any thoughts, or if this was just a pure fact-finding, question mission. Connor says, hanging with my friends, so we'll watch tomorrow, but it's crazy in the drafts I've done. There's no consensus after the first round. Yeah, I totally understand that. It's get your guy territory. Normally that's the late third, or mid to late third is when consensus falls off, and it's just get whatever guy you like. But right now it's man, after the 203, get your guy. It's whatever. In a lot of these drafts. So I definitely agree with you. I'm excited for you to watch tomorrow. Tom asked, what's your opinion on the Ravens offense going forward, particularly Henry, Jackson, run game with the new O-line? Yeah. Let me just double check. Baltimore. Let's see. Yeah, so it was really only Vega is the only lineman of note that they drafted. But I am excited for him. He was a guy that I looked at. He's very good guard. But I do like what the Ravens are doing. I think they really want to establish the run game. That's their identity. Going out and taking a guard with a pretty high first round pick, I think says that. And so very excited for Henry. About Jackson, I think he's just Justice Hill, but younger. I expect him to get some run at some point in as a third down receiving back, but that's just not a super valuable role for the Ravens offense, which doesn't pass the ball a ton, and Lamar doesn't check the ball down a ton either. So Jackson's not a guy that I'm really very excited about. Even if Henry were to go down, he's not somebody who profiles out a 3-down back, somebody who could step into sudden opportunity and really perform highly. Even if something were to happen to Henry, I would expect them to bring in somebody else to be more of that lead rusher, bruising back type of player. So I am excited for Henry. But I mean, Henry's Henry. I don't think that this changes much of my evaluation for Henry, because I guess my dynasty evaluation of him, but it just provides me a little bit more confidence in the run game for next season. Okay, let's see. JMO said, I feel the same, not sure yet. I would probably take him around the 205-ish range. Jonah, and I think we're talking about Stribling still. Or maybe we're talking about Coleman. Oh, no, yeah, we're talking about Stribling. So, yeah. And that's the thing. I feel like it's just it's not clear. Like, if you are somebody who just wants to trust the 49ers and take that shot based on the draft capital, totally respect that. The hit rates are finicky for wide receivers, honestly. Like, they're not good across the board, from first round, second round, third round. So I'm just not super excited by a second round wide receiver that I didn't like personally, but I think that 205 is definitely a range where it would be reasonable to go ahead and grab him. Let's see, Coleman hoping to get right at the 201. I think that's pretty reasonable. And if he doesn't go if he goes earlier than that, then somebody like Boston, Sadiq, Stowers, Ty Simpson will fall to you at the 201. So if you don't get him there, you'll get another player that I like. Let's see, Braden said Stribling probably going to be a better real-life wide receiver than fantasy wide receiver, and I can get behind that. A lot. There's just a lot of guys that fall into that same bucket, where I provides more to the team than he does to our like fantasy rosters. I guess they didn't really they have both Evans and Pearsall can operate like outside as an X, but neither of them are really like field stretcher kind of guys, like Stribling is. So you're probably onto something there, Braden. Maybe I don't know. Maybe let's see. So Braden says that they're probably he thinks that the 49ers are going to have to look for a long-term true X in the future, soon in the future. Pearsall is an ideal Z, and I agree with that. Stribling is a big slot with speed and a good blocker. I think that they probably wanted him for the speed, would be my guess, because that's what they lack on the 49ers offense right now. And that's really all I can do to kind of conceptualize why they made that pick, is because they wanted him to stretch the field and open things up for like Evans, Pearsall, Kittle, McCaffrey, and stuff like that. So it could be good for the 49ers. I just don't think he's going to be a great like fantasy type asset. Let's see. The next player that I kind of talked about in the pre-draft process, or I guess the assets, was the 106 and the 107. Those I almost talked about, like the 108, 109 as well, like included those kind of in this discussion of picks that I thought would jump in value. Unfortunately, the 108 and 109 kind of didn't, because Sadiq and Cooper went to the Jets, which is a bad landing spot and overloads the offense a little bit, and then Boston landed with the Cleveland Browns as well with Casey Concepcion. So all three of the next tier of wide receivers after those top three guys, the next three tier of wide receivers all kind of went to mediocre situations, and I still like Concepcion, even though he's on the Browns. He's like my favorite wide receiver out of those next three guys. But like, it's just the draft didn't do any favors for Sadiq, Cooper, or Boston at all. I was hoping at least one or two of those guys would go to better situations, but I didn't talk about the 108, 109 because I felt less confident in those picks gaining value, but the 106 and the 107 do look pretty good because you still have Concepcion, you have Mendoza, and you have Jadarian Price going in the late first to the Seahawks, and so you will get one of those three players with the 106 and the 107. And so the 106 and the 107 did, I think, gain some value mostly because of Price, honestly. And now Price is pushing possibly some of these drafts, pushing Mendoza down even further. And so I've seen Mendoza go at the 107 a few times, which is just fantastic value at the 107. Also would not be opposed at all to taking Jadarian Price there. Be happy to take Price at the 107. And then again, Casey Concepcion, I like him as a receiver, and although the Browns are not a very good landing spot in terms of the team situation, I do think that I want to make the bet on a wide receiver that I like, and I think that the Browns probably get their future quarterback, or a shot at their future quarterback, in 2027. With that stat class, I don't expect the Browns to be good enough to play themselves out of a good quarterback prospect in the 2027 draft. So I was pretty happy with how that one turned out. Let's see. Braden says, don't sleep on the fact that Stribling is the best wide receiver blocker. He is Juwan with 4-3 wheels. Juwan was valuable when he was the slot with Ayuk and Debo, just not a fantasy asset. And then Rip Sadiq, the Jets ruin everything. The Jets kind of suck. No, I don't think anyone's happy with the Jets right now. I don't think the Jets are happy with the Jets, like the Jets fans, with how the draft went. But that I actually didn't know. Again, I did not do much look into Stribling until he was drafted 33rd overall, and so I believe you that he is a really good blocker, and that is something I feel like the 49ers would really, really enjoy. Like, they would look at that and their mouth would start watering a little bit. Oh, this guy can block. Ooh, yeah, you know. And M. Roger brings up a really good point here, where folks were saying the same thing about the Saints last year as they are with the Jets and Browns. Now, not saying I expect them to turn it around, but perception can change quickly. I was actually thinking about this, and man, it really seems like the Jets are trying to have a competent offense this season. And if I remember right, I didn't get to look into it. I don't remember every team's offensive line stats off the top of my head, but I think that the Jets O-line is actually not horrible, not good, not fantastic or anything, but lower middle of the pack offensive line. Somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, but decent O-line, and then with Brees at running back, Wilson, and now Cooper at wide receiver, Sadiq and Taylor at tight end. If Geno can provide competent QB play, which I do think that he can do, the Jets could actually have a decent offense this season. If anything, I think the draft has raised my opinion on Geno Smith for the offseason, because again, they didn't invest heavily in the defense in the draft, and so they're going to be, what my expectation is that they're going to be down in a lot of games, they're going to be throwing the ball a lot, and they added offensive weapons in the passing game. And so I'm not expecting the Jets to be good, but could they be similar to the Cardinals from 2025? They just get down, throw the heck out of the ball, and people just end up producing because the passing volume is so high, and there are actually some good skill position players. Who knows? Prolon asked, where would you take Mendoza in a 1 QB? Let me check. I'm not as good with the 1 QB stuff. I'd probably take him a little bit lower, just because I don't think he has like a super high like ceiling. Like even if he were to hit, he'd be like, you know, like his ceiling outcome would be like a Brock Purdy type, you know, and that's just like I love Purdy, but that's not him. Purdy and the kind of quarterback that he is just not super valuable in like a 1 QB format. And so let me just check. I think that I would probably take Mendoza around like the 1. It's tough because his class sucks. Let me see. I would value Mendoza right around where you would value like a Jordan Love. In a 1 QB, and in the class, I'd probably take him like with like the 10th or 11th pick, I think. That's a good question. I'm not super locked in on the 1 QB stuff. So let me know if that helps, or if you have more questions. Braden says that the Jets O-line is actually legit. That's kind of what I thought. Like I thought that I kept being surprised that the Jets O-line was better than I thought it was. So thank you for like, you know, validating me on that. And Geno will be better now that he doesn't have Chip Kelly mailing it in, making incomplete play calls into his helmet. Yeah. I mean, who's the OC for the Jets? I just don't know if I'm that much more confident in whoever New York has as their OC. Jonah says that the Jets situation isn't bad at all. Wilter White says that they like the stream. I like you liking the stream. I like you being here. Thank you for stopping by. Yeah, Jonah says that the tackles are pretty good for the Jets as well. Yeah, and I agree, Jonah. He said that Geno has supported multiple 1,000-yard receivers in the past. He's older. He's worse than he was, 3 or 4 years ago for sure. But I think at the very least he could supply enough passing volume to get the job done, and do so not much worse than like a Jacoby Brissett or like a Spencer Rattler did last season. So I think that the Jets as a team could outproduce expectations. I just find it really hard to believe that like Sadiq and Cooper could both be productive and helpful. I think Wilson, I really like these moves for Wilson, honestly, because I feel like it's going to be similar to like the Amon-Ra discussion from a few years ago, where it was like, oh, Amon-Ra got all this target volume and he was productive, but then now we have Laporta and J-Mo and they're good and they're going to eat into Amon-Ra's like production a lot. But then even though Amon-Ra got less targets the following year, he just scored like a bunch of touchdowns because the offense was actually good, and he like produced 19 points per game again. And then people were like, oh, well, the offense isn't going to be as good. Like, he's not going to have as many touchdowns. He's going to regress. And then the offense regressed a little bit. But what does that mean? They needed to target Amon-Ra more because he's the best receiver on the Lions. And so even though that next season his touchdowns did regress, he got more target volume because the offense was struggling. Like, it's one of those things where I think that even if you add in additional pass catchers like Sadiq, like Cooper, I think that Wilson just gets so much more efficient if those guys are actually good, and it just like raises the efficiency of the offense as a whole. So I'm pretty excited for Wilson, to be honest. Again, looks like the Jets are wanting to be offense centric, and I'm excited about that. Okay. Tom says Lemon on the Eagles with Smith is one I can't place. Feels like they could be a clear wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2 room, or more of a 1A, 1B type situation. We'll just have to see. It just depends on what Lemon becomes. If he like really hits, I think he's going hits a higher end outcome based on his prospect profile, then he's going to overtake Smith and do it fairly soon. If he hits more of like a middling outcome, I think it's 1A, 1B territory. And then if he, kind of like maybe disappoints a little bit to his prospect profile and our expectations, then he's going to be like the 2 behind Smith. It's a high variance situation. A lot's changing, a lot of wheels moving, but I still like Lemon. And if you wanted him over a Tyson or a Tate, then I wouldn't look at you sideways. I really like the type of player that he is. I really like the Amon-Ra archetype. That is becoming pretty dominant in the NFL, and that's what Mekhi Lemon is. So I still like Lemon, but not a problem if other people do not. Okay. Okay, let's see. Frank Reich, OC in for the New York Jets right now. Okay, that's not horrible. Interesting, Jonah. He says that his concern with Reich as an OC is that the O-line typically underperforms with him. Happened in Carolina and Indy. That's interesting. Let's see. Okay. Let's hop over. I appreciate all the messages. We're going to be starting the rookie draft in like 10 minutes or so. So I just want to roll through some of the other kind of takes, assets from that pre-draft buys video. Talked about all of the different running backs for like the Titans, the Commanders, and the Giants. And how if Love doesn't go to one of those spots, then those running backs are going to get an instant boost in dynasty value. And look what happened. Love didn't go to any of those spots. So buying in on any player in any of those backfields, I feel like was a value win pre-draft. So fantastic for Scatterbo, of course. Good for like JC and Rashad White. Good for Pollard and Spears, of course. There are some later round running backs that went to the Commanders and the Titans. I think, that's a deeper discussion, but I definitely think that the draft was good for all 3 of these running back backfields for sure. And then Rashee Rice, the Chiefs do not take a high-profile wide receiver, any wide receiver that I care about. They didn't take one with either of their first-round picks. And so I think this is they were in a position where they could have gotten one of these wide receivers. They chose not to, and that makes me feel better about Rice both this season and moving forward. Makes me feel like there's at least a higher likelihood that they commit to Rice long-term, whatever your thoughts are on Rashee Rice in that situation. That's another probably high variance situation there for Rice, and I could see it going either direction, but for sure, I think the expectations should be high for Rashee Rice this season, and I think his outlook for the future has improved as well. Josh Allen, this is kind of the more unfortunate one. Not really like unfortunate, but I was just really hoping and figuring that the Bills would take a bigger swing at wide receiver. They did not. So the draft didn't hurt Allen. They did take Skylar Bell, interesting-ish player, but not a wide receiver I'm particularly excited about. So this one was a little disappointing. The Bills were also just in the perfect spot to draft Cooper or a Boston, and just didn't want to. I don't know. Bills are weird, but so this one was disappointing. But it didn't hurt Allen. It just didn't. The draft didn't help him, unfortunately. And then Chuba Hubbard, another guy that I talked about. The Panthers go O-line in the first round and then proceed to not draft a running back of any consequence throughout the rest of the draft. So let's see. I'm just confident. Yeah, no other O-line. No other running back. And then they also took a center in the 5th round, Sam Hecht. Monroe Freeling, the offensive tackle at pick 19, was a fantastic pick for the Carolina Panthers. So very, very happy to see that for Chuba Hubbard. And again, like the Panthers are going to play through the rushing attack. Chuba has the biggest chance at being the starting back there in Carolina. Brooks is interesting. He's a good stash. I want Brooks on my dynasty rosters, but I also want Chuba Hubbard wherever I can get him, and I just think he's way too cheap right now. Let's see. And then the last one, we're just kind of talking about the Chargers' offensive line and how that could, how they could realistically address the position in the draft. Pardon me. Unfortunately, they didn't get guard early in the draft like I was hoping they would. For those who are just joining us now, we're going through a couple of pre-draft buys, talking through how those things turned out. The rookie draft will be starting here in the next 5-ish minutes or so. Floating says good afternoon to you too as well, my friend. Okay, yeah, but then the Los Angeles Chargers, they took 4 offensive linemen. They took a center, Jake Slaughter, at the end of the 2nd. But the Chargers did, or I guess they're planning on trying to play him at guard, which isn't great. I guess I would have preferred that they had just gotten one of the round 1 guards who had been playing guard more consistently. I don't know a ton about Slaughter, but I am less confident in O-linemen that are having to transition their position. But obviously that does work out well for teams pretty frequently. Yeah, I was hoping they got a little bit higher profile guard, but they got Slaughter. They also got Travis Burke in the 4th round, and then 2 more shots in the 6th round at guards, Logan Taylor and Alex Harkey. And so I just feel a lot better about the offensive line situation for the Los Angeles Chargers, and just the fallout of that doesn't really change my evaluation of Hampton. I was expecting this to happen, and I think that just the community and myself, we were all pretty excited about Hampton to begin with. I think where this really comes into play is with Gadsden, who was being taken off the field quite frequently for blocking tight ends last season because the blocking was so poor. And what I'm hoping is that, we saw him be a very good pass catcher, be good for this offense. What I'm hoping is that if the line is just actually good, then Gadsden can get on the field a lot more, but maybe they run more 12 personnel sets where they get Kolar on the field and Gadsden on the field at the same time, but they also have QJ Harris and Ladd that the Chargers definitely want to get on the field as well. So Gadsden still has some questions, but I feel way better about the Chargers offensive line heading into 2026. So happy with that one as well. And then let's try and get this draft going. Wrong button. Get that a little smaller. let's see. And then last thing is boom. Okay, so we have the draft settings going, and let's get this draft started. Okay, and then I am going to just let them know that we are starting the draft. We can get started. Boom. And away we go. Sorry, I think I came down with a little something, just coughing a little bit. But we are here to grind. We are live streaming away anyways. Okay, we've got, let's see, can I do that? Okay. We have Patrick on the clock here. 5-minute rolling clock, so we should have plenty of time to talk about some things as these picks are being made, but Patrick did not need much time to think about the 101, as I don't think that anybody should really need much time on the clock at the 101 unless they are aggressively trying to move that pick while they are on the clock. Sammy says, who do I take at 101, ... Yeah. I think that's going to be a real tough decision. I hear people really like, Jonah Coleman. If you want to take a shot there, go for it. And then Rosie Posey says, just got done taking pictures of some birds. This is a great way to wind down. That sounds super fun. Do you do bird watching a lot, Rosie? Oh, Patrick says that he's actually on his wife's account, and that's why it says Sammy. So that is Patrick. Yeah, I didn't expect you to need much time there on the clock. So Patrick, I guess it's Pope Loafers is the like technically at the one spot, like his profile pictures at the one spot. But this is like rookie draft. We drafted these in a startup, so the draft position like holds no bearing. But Pope Loafers, if you're on and you're hanging out, why is your profile picture a crow on a parking sign? I would be very curious. Yeah, that's pretty. I agree. David says that's pretty funny. But hey, congratulations on having a wife. On being married. Sweet. Yeah. So Rosie Posey says that he's also on his wife's account, and he's been going bird watching every day for the last 2 weeks. What region of the country do you live in, and what birds do you like to look at? You don't have to get too specific, but are you in like the East Coast, West Coast? Are you central? What kind of birds are we looking at? Let me know. And then let's see. I guess since Jeremiah Love was taken off the board, I can talk about him just a little bit. I don't love the Arizona landing spot as much as I would have loved some other spots. I think I would have been more excited about Love on the Commanders for sure, and then probably also would have been a little bit more excited about him on the Titans, maybe. I'm still thinking about that. I just think that the depth running backs on the Cardinals are better than the depth running backs that he would have had to deal with on like the Titans. And like, I think we've seen that Algier's good enough to be annoying for Bijan. I do not think that Pollard and Spears would have been good enough to be annoying for Love. Of course, again, like, not saying Algier's like a big problem or anything, but he's a good enough RB2 for a team that he might take some picks. Sorry, take some touches, take some touchdowns away from Jeremiah Love. And then James Conner, I feel like he got kind of a courtesy contract from the Cardinals, but they might try and get him out there too, like just a little bit. Not anything that, again, like we're panicking on Love for any reason, but I just would have liked him better in a different situation. I guess what we can hope for, though, is that Arizona is like a Cincinnati light type offense, where they have like a functioning offense, like obviously Cincinnati's offense is really good. The Bengals are good, but like Arizona's like a decent offense that has a really bad defense. Like, that's the comparison with Cincinnati, and so they just are chucking the ball all the time. And just like have like a high volume offense and score a lot of points. Even though they lose games, they just score a bunch of points. And Tate just went off the board at 102. I think that's a very reasonable pick from Finch. But yeah, getting back to what I was saying, if Arizona is just like a high volume, high scoring offense, even if the team's bad, that could be good for Love. We'll just have to wait and see, though. Jonas says, I'm not sure Algier is better than Pollard and Spears. His RYOE was among the worst in the league last year. Let's see. That just happens with bruiser backs. So RYOE is rushing yards over expected. Like gold line, short yardage, power backs, kind of like what Algier is. That happens a ton. Like, it's both they do a lot of plays where they're only really expected to get like a yard, right, on like a goal to go or a like third and one kind of stuff. It's not like super accounted in the stats, but then also that skews a little bit. But then also that's just kind of what those players do, is they get a set amount of yards like every run. Like they consistently get positive yardage, compared to like a Chase Brown, who has more yards per rush, like a higher RYOE, but has like a way higher like failed rushing rate, right? Because Brown either goes for like 0 yards or 10 yards every play, and that's just kind of the rusher that he is, in contrast to a guy like Algier, who's like a bruiser type back. So I don't think RYOE is like the best stat to determine how good Tyler Algier is as like a running back, because just naturally it's going to skew against him. We have some more picks going off the board here, pretty quick succession. Tyson at the 103, Lemon at the 104 to J Hare, and then Mendoza at the 105 to Nico. We can talk about kind of the tier that's happening with the 105 to the 107 after these picks go off the board, but personally I do think that Mendoza is the correct pick there at the 105. And there we have Price going at the 1-6. I do like Price. I like Mendoza better. I think he just has a higher Mendoza as a quarterback, especially as the 101 quarterback, has a much higher floor and a higher ceiling than Jadarian Price, will in the NFL. Price will probably give you more immediate production, maybe a more immediate value win if he can come out, secure the lead role for the Seahawks. But I think the Seahawks are wanting to do, like they've shown in the past, want to do like a 1-2 at the running back position. And so even if Price is like the undisputed RB1 this season, when Charbonnet is hopefully healthy in 2027, and if they sign him to, or extend him, I should say, if they sign a deal to extend him, or if they bring in some other back, I just never expect the Seahawks to be a team that will want to run out Price as like the unquestioned RB1 in the offense, even if he does get that role out of necessity here in 2026. So I like Price. Again, Mendoza, I like him a lot better. Concepcion here at the 1-7, I think is correct as well to close out that tier from the 105 to the 107. So awesome. And Nico gets both Mendoza and Nico. Sorry, Nico gets both Mendoza and Concepcion. And so that is very good for him. Then we have Cooper going off at the 1-8. I think that's a totally reasonable pick there from Jay here. Let's see. Let's go back over to some of these comments. Rosie Posey said, I took that picture 2 days ago of the reserved parking sign and a funny bird on top. If you know, you know. Southeast Texas, migration comes through here. Okay. So I guess it's just a good time of year to be taking pictures of birds. Well, that's sweet. It said, haven't seen any finches yet this year. That's funny. Because we have Finch here at his icon at the 4 spot. Let's see. Sammy says, I saw one just pick Tate. Let's see. Or I guess that's Patrick. You just saw a draft where Tate went at the 101? Man, whoever's drafting at the 102 in that draft just got a real treat. Dropped onto their lap. Dang. Yeah, 101 at the 105 is good too. Yeah. The 101 drafted quarterback at the 105, that is a very good pick. I agree. Braden says Price has something that Walker doesn't, better vision. He hits the right hole and keeps things on schedule. He has a better chance of earning more snaps than Walker ever could. Even if that's true, I'm not saying it's not. Even if that's true, like that's just not the model that the Seahawks seem to want to run. And so I just think Price's ceiling is capped. Like even if he gets like 65% of the opportunities and does have a better like goal line role than Walker, he still just is not a guy that I ever think is gonna be like RB8 or above. I guess I should say, like fantasy football, like redraft terms, like low end RB1, I feel like is the highest end outcome for Price, like reasonably, on a year-to-year basis. He would have to have like a crazy touchdown rate or something to, I feel like, to beat that, just based on the Seahawks offense and how their team runs, right? Their games are so slow because the defense is so good, low scoring games, things like that. Like they're very rarely ever pushed to score like 5 touchdowns in a game. I just think Price is capped. Like I think he's good. I just, again, would not take him over the 101 drafted quarterback here in this rookie class. Mendoza and KC really hit my bill, says Nico. So let's see who Nico has on the roster right now. Let's see. So Herbert Stroud at QB. So definitely could have used another quarterback. to supplement that. And then Henderson, Pollard, Dobbins, Warren at running back. That's a fine RB room. Just kind of functional. And then wide receivers, we have Wilson, Puka as the main two, but it kind of falls off pretty hard after that. And then Bowers at the tight end is the plug there. So yeah, I mean, looks like the needs were wide receiver and quarterback. So it's nice that you got those positions to fall to you in the tier and didn't have to reach on any players. So that's a nice little run out for you there. And we're rolling down on the clock here for Patrick. Okay, I think we've got some trade negotiations going on. Draft has been paused. Thank you, David. Were we able to make something work, gentlemen? Well, they're they're talking it out. Let's see. Does David? Do you have any picks? Really? The 202, and then nothing. The 303, and then, okay, so a couple thirds, early fourth. Yeah, not too many picks there. And then Skynet also doesn't really have any early picks either. Matty Bollock also doesn't really have any picks. So seems like a lot of the early draft picks were taken up by just a couple of different people. Jay Hare did successfully trade up to the 109 here and sent away the 201 and the 206 in order to get that done. And now, as we can see, he is on the clock. Braden says, going back to like Seahawks, what model? Those regimes are not in Seattle anymore. Well, I mean, we are 3 months removed from like the 1-2 punch duo that's kind of been the Seattle go-to for multiple years. I mean, did the Seahawks change who their head coach was? I don't think so. I know Kubiak is gone, but I don't know. I like assuming that it would change is a way bigger assumption than, or I guess assuming it would stay the same is way more of a, thing that would be likely to happen. Yeah, so we have Mike McDonald as the head coach, and he's been there a while. He is like kind of a defensive oriented head coach, but like again, I just don't see the need for the Super Bowl champions to kind of change up their, how they run their offense, how they run their team. I would definitely expect more of the same, especially given the situation. But realistically, yeah, I mean, new OC, things could change. I'm not crapping on Price. I think he is firmly in the same tier as Mendoza and Concepcion. I would just not take Price over Mendoza personally. Let's see. David said he had a startup draft last night in a $100 league where Mendoza went 101. That is crazy. And it wasn't like somebody had the 101 and the 102. I mean, even if the owner had the 101 and the 102, I would think that was a pretty dumb move, to be honest. Taking Mendoza that high. Okay, so we have a couple picks here off the clock pretty quick. Ty Simpson, Kenyon Sadiq, and Eli Stowers. Going to Jay Hare, Patrick, and Gavin Durley, respectively. So, I guess first off, for the trade, there is going to be a player that I feel like I like enough at the 201 that I think I'm going to prefer the Finch side of that deal. Or sorry, not the Patrick side of the deal, where he got the 201 and the 206. I think there's like a little teardrop here, but you're still getting a player that there's not a ton of difference between Ty Simpson and then who you're going to get at the 201, and of course you get the 206 on top of it. I think that, let's see, I was just looking at something. Does Jay Hare have Stafford? And that's why. Nope. No, David has Stafford. So Simpson's the right pick there, but I mean, I guess it's not like the wrong pick, I should say. In the tier. He is in the same tier. But again, I just don't think that I think the drop off is like right after the 201. So Braden, sounds like you're a big prize truther, my friend. He says that the OC is gone, the Kenneth Walker's gone, and then Charbonnet has a torn ACL surgery in February. Yeah, and that's the whole thing, is that even if Price goes out and has like a high-end rookie season here where he's like the RB12, I do expect Seattle to bring in somebody to be like the RB1, RB2 duo. And Price is not a guy that, based on draft capital prospect stuff, that we can just lock in, even with a pretty good rookie season, to be completely safe, like he's going to be the certified workhorse. So, again, I just think his ceiling is capped based on the offense that he's in and what I expect and what the community expects moving forward. Whereas, like, you know, Mendoza is a quarterback, and if he comes out and he exceeds expectations and has a high-end rookie season, I think he's just going to be valued more than Price. If Mendoza comes out and has a low-end rookie season, then, like, I think and Price also has a low-end season, like, Mendoza's going to be valued more. So, like, if Price disappoints and Mendoza both disappoint, I think the community is going to have Mendoza a lot higher. And then if both of them exceed expectations, then, like, again, the community is just going to have Mendoza valued a lot higher in Dynasty. Jonah says, it kind of shocks me how much smarter YouTube is than Reddit. Consensus on there is definitely Mendoza 102. Here, I'd be high to have him at 104. Yeah, David says that DDD is definitely smarter than Reddit. I appreciate that, David. I feel like Reddit, like, it's just the people who use Reddit still for fantasy football are like the 40-year-old people who have been playing, I mean, you know, just more so than the YouTube, are the people that have been, you know, playing it for a long time and are just so ingrained on quarterback being incredibly valuable in Superflex, right? Like back to when it was like 16 quarterbacks in the first 2 rounds of Dynasty startups. And kind of stuck in that mindset. And now, you know, the Superflex is changing a little bit. Dynasty's changing. The value just of quarterbacks in general is decreasing, especially outside of the elite options. And so I just feel like the Reddit side probably hasn't caught up in that way. So that would be my guess as to the Reddit thing. Jonah asked, have we ever had a landscape where a day 3 RB was legit 1-2 turn pick in rookie Superflex drafts? I'm trying to think, and I don't think so. I think there's always just been better players on the board. Yeah, and so Jonah Coleman going there at the 112 as well. Chris Bell going to Miami at the 2-1. Let me just double check. Wow, that's kind of, I don't want to say anything, but getting Chris Bell there over another rookie prospect is kind of surprising. Not to say that I don't understand, but that is a little bit of a surprise there. For Jonah Coleman, I mean, what was he? Is he 4th round or 5th round pick? Let me double check. Broncos, early 4th. Okay, that's better. But like the early 4th last year, running backs were like Scat and Tootin, right? And they weren't going until like I think Scat. Oh man, who was going higher? Oh, those guys didn't go off until like the mid-second. So I guess it wasn't too far off. But that was also kind of an outlier class because we had all these good running backs that it kind of like pushed some really good prospects down into like the beginning of the 4th round of the real NFL draft. But yeah, 1-2 turn, I don't really think so. Man. Okay, so Lamb Chop says, hey, thinking about a trade, wondering for your thoughts. I'm giving up Smith, Pierce, and the 26th pick this year for Judkins, Reed, and a projected late 2027 second in a 10-team league. So Judkins is definitely the best player in the deal here, but you're giving Smith, Pierce, and like so that's a 3rd. Getting Judkins, Reed, and a late 2nd. In a 10-team, that's not bad. I think that if this was a deeper league, let me know how many starts there are, Lamb Chop, for the league. Because if it's like 10 teams start 9, then I probably just want like Superflex 10 team start 9. Then I probably just want Judkins and the upside there. But if it's like I don't know, 10 teams start 11, then I might want Smith and Pierce for a little bit more depth. But I do like Pierce. I like Pierce more than most. I think value-wise, it's probably the Judkins side here. I think it is the Judkins side. I do just like Pierce over Reed by quite a bit right now. Some more picks coming off. We have Boston at the 2-2, Singleton at the 2-3, and Bernard here at the 2-4. I think once we hit the 3rd round, we'll drop the clock timer down a little bit to speed things up. Maybe drop it to like 3 minutes or something. Let's see. Yeah, I agree with Rosie Posey here on the value for Boston. Like, Boston would have been my pick at the 2-1, and that's who I was expecting Patrick to go. I understand why Patrick went Chris Bell. I just disagree with it. So it's a great value for David there at the 2-2. And then Nick Singleton to the Tennessee Titans for Millpal there at the 2-3. I really do like that pick. Singleton is just going to be a high variance guy with the injury. We just don't really know. We don't have a lot of information that we would have potentially had if he hadn't been injured. And he goes to the Tennessee Titans, which for all intents and purposes is a pretty wide open running back room compared to, league average. And if the Titans get better as a team, as an offense, like we're projecting them to, then I think Singleton has a lot of upside. And I'm chasing, especially in this range and in a rookie draft, I'm chasing the variance, chasing the upside. So I like Singleton there at the 2-3. Bernard there at the 2-4, going to Pittsburgh. I like Bernard a little bit as a player. Don't love the landing spot for multiple reasons. Max Clare, tight end, going into the Rams in the second round. The Rams obviously saw something in Clare that they really liked. They already have multiple tight ends, but I do like taking the shots on these second round tight ends in these rookie drafts. They hold value well, and they have a lot of value upside as well. It's just much easier to be an elite tight end producer, from like a volume perspective, from a real life NFL production perspective. Tight ends just have to do less to be good fantasy assets. So Claire is somebody that I probably would have rather had in the late second, early third in a regular rookie class, but he is a good pick here. Stribling here at the 2-6. We were discussing Stribling earlier. I think this is a reasonable range to take him. If you are on the side of, trusting the NFL, the 49ers, and their evaluation of a player, then I think it's reasonable to take him here. I think he's going to be a better real life NFL player than he is like a fantasy asset, but the 49ers is a pretty good situation to kind of take an upside shot on Stribling, so I don't have any big problems with Stribling. Then we have Antonio Williams at the 2-7 going to Washington, which is another pretty open situation, and so just opportunity. I like that. I like Williams as a prospect a bit. These wide receiver hit rates, of course, getting into these later round wide receivers, the second, third, and fourth, hit rates are not great. But what are you going to do? Katron Allen going to the Washington Commanders here at the 2-8. That feels like that's early for Allen, but I just don't know. I mean, who else do you take? Let's see who's on the board right now, who Sleeper has next up. So Mike Washington, Emmett Johnson, Zachariah Branch, Chris Brazel, Malachi Fields, Jacoby Lane, Nussmeier, Skylar Bell. Yeah, I mean, not a lot of like better options on the board here, so I completely understand. And then Elijah Surratt to Baltimore here at the 2-9. Going over to the comments, let's see. Coleman went like 4 or 5 picks after Scat and Tootin. JMO, do you mean Coleman went 4 or 5 picks before Scat and Tootin? Oh, no, I mean... in, like, fantasy drafts. Like, where they were drafted relative to each other. Not, like, real life. I see what you mean. Not, like, real life NFL draft. But yeah, that's not what I was thinking about. Let's see. Sammy says that he wanted Bell, or I guess he was skipping over Boston with Fannin already there, and Fannin and Concepcion. Yeah, and like I get it. I do get it. Boston is just so much better of a prospect than Bell is. I care more about opportunity for like situational opportunity for quarterback, running back, and for tight end than I do for wide receiver, because even when wide receivers are on the field, they still have to do a lot, like really earn targets, earn production in a different way than like a running back might, or like a quarterback might if they're like thrust into a starting role. I mean, think about like Tez Johnson, where he got some run for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and he looked pretty good, and just no one really cared because everyone knew he was pretty mid, as opposed to like Woody Marks, where everyone still kind of knew he was mid, but he was the starter and he was productive, and he had a lot more value. It's just, not a perfect comparison, but basic all that to say that like the opportunity thing, just there being no one else, or there being a lot of or like an open receiving room, does not get me that excited whenever as opposed to like a running back going to an open running back room in the same way. So I do like Chris Bell. I just would not, even with the situation stuff, I probably wouldn't have taken him over Boston here. But I respect it. I understand what you're doing, and I respect it. Crew Disser says that they do not like how far Stowers is getting moved up, and I agree. It's just there's just no one else to draft. Like, I was really excited to try and get Stowers like with my early seconds. And he's just not going to be there, and it's not, I don't think it's wrong. It's just, there's just not really any better options. Okay, Lamb Chop, let's see, start 9 shallow league, adding another flex in 2 years. Didn't want to add context, but Devontae is a bench player for me, and Corum is my RB2, thinking it might make sense. Yeah, I mean, start 9, I just want like the best player in the deal, the highest upside like single player. So I do like Smith, I do like Pierce, but you also get Reed back, you also get a second back in a 10-team league. So I would probably just take Judkins there. In your situation, I think it's even. I think it's pretty even, with like just like the slightest lean towards the Judkins side. Okay, some more picks off the clock in our draft. We have Justin Jolly going at the 210, a player that I'm a fan of. I was a fan of him in the pre-draft process as like a later round flyer. I think that's a decent pick there here at the 210. Just a guy that, again, I was hoping I could get in like the mid-third, but that just does not quite look like it is in the cards. Carson Beck and Drew Aller going here at the 11 and 12 picks. Good upside plays. I think that what you're hoping for is that they get some starting opportunities, and you can get a 27 second from some team for one of these guys in that event. Unfortunately, even though you're taking them in the late second in this rookie draft, again, not much better options, and you're just kind of hoping to either get some starts out of these guys if you maybe have that quarterback room. You're running with Brissett and Minshew, and want to add like a Beck in order to round it out. Make sure you have the starter there all season, or plan to like flip them in season if somebody needs a QB starter and they get opportunity. let's see, Emmett Johnson at the 3-1. I do like this pick a lot. Johnson is a guy that I probably will be having higher on my rookie rankings, just because there's opportunity there in Kansas City. I like Kenneth Walker a lot, of course, but Walker has a history of not being healthy the whole season, especially when he has a pretty large workload, and I'm worried that the Chiefs are going to try and give him too large of a workload. So in the event that, Kenneth Walker goes down for an extended period of time, I could see Johnson gaining quite a bit of value and being fairly productive. Not my favorite prospect of all time, but this is one of those times when the potential opportunity is something that I want to lean into, right? It's a running back who is in a potentially good offense that could have a wide open running back room pretty much with one injury. Okay, we have another trade. Let me pull up the details here for you guys. Okay, so Raptor sends the 303 to Millpal for a 27 third. And then we actually have another trade where Pope Loafers or Skynet sends the 304 to Finch for a 27 third. So we are throwing around some thirds here to go out and get our guys. What is his first name? Eli. Okay. Eli Raridon going to the New England Patriots. And then let me just double check his draft capital as well. The later round guy, I believe. Oh. Okay, there we go. Okay, late third, so not that late round guy. Yeah, the 31st pick in the third round. That's super interesting. Or like that situation, that player, Eli Raridon to the Patriots, very interesting. They like their tight ends. He is a guy that I would not mind taking a shot on in the third round at all. I think that's a pretty good pick there as well. So Raptor really wanting to get Raridon and willing to send away a 2027 third in order to get him. And then Skynet here, same thing for Mike Washington here, going to be alongside Ashton Genty. We have another trade, I believe, if it'll load for me. I heard a sound like somebody made a trade. Maybe Sleeper's lying to me. I think Sleeper's lying to me. Okay. But yeah, I guess Jacoby Lane at the 3-2 there to Patrick. Yeah, Mike Washington, I mean, he's interesting. He's an upside play. And we'll just see what this, or if he gets any run in the offense behind Genty. The coaching staff has talked about them wanting to have like a number 2 guy that can actually come in and take like a decent number of snaps, maybe like 20 to 30% is what I think that they're looking for. So that like Genty's still the clear one, the still workhorse, but like more like a modern workhorse, because he got so much usage last season. I think he ranked like top 5 in running back usage last season. And like we've seen other teams do with their elite running backs, the Falcons with Bijan, the Lions with Gibbs, having another guy there to take some snaps away from the number one guy has worked out for those teams pretty well. I think that Washington going to the Raiders is probably a good thing for Genty long term, though I'm sure there are going to be people who are going to be freaking out about Genty and about Washington going to the Raiders, but they said they wanted to get Genty, a number 2, and I think that they took their shot on Washington, and we'll see if he can be like a real NFL running back or if he's just a combine warrior. And then we have Black. Is it Kalen? No. Oh no, it is Kalen. Okay, I'm right. Going to San Francisco, possibly the CMC handcuff, possibly very lucrative role. And then Zachariah Branch at the 3-6, honestly, that seems pretty late for him to me. I mean, like, the Atlanta depth chart behind London is pretty wide open. I know it's not a super pass-heavy offense, but I mean, Branch could easily be the number 2 receiver in Atlanta. And I mean, we just took a lot of players over Branch that I don't think I would. Okay, hopping back over to the chat. What are we talking about? See, Reneth says, how bad would you want Jennings signing with Miami hurt Bell's value? That's interesting. I don't think it should hurt Bell's value, because I don't think that we should be pushing up Bell because it is a wide open wide receiver room. But like with fantasy football and dynasty and just how the community thinks about things, I think that it would drop Bell a bit because he's being pushed up because there's no one else. And so if someone else comes in who could be a legitimate threat, a potential number one wide receiver, then I do think it could hurt Bell quite a bit from that standpoint, like just pure dynasty value. Long term, though, I do not think it should hurt Bell at all. Let's see. I think Jonas says that he thinks dribbling sucks, but Ron made an excellent tweet about him for drafts. Sammy says, I'm a trust the NFL GM over chat on dribbling. Yeah, Sammy said, Patrick says, I'm leaving the league, can't handle the criticism. Yeah. No, and that's the thing, is that Tez Johnson was doing well, and he got, like, zero respect, because it's like as soon as the next, like, wide receiver come, or, like, the people ahead of him on the depth chart comes back, he's just gone. That's the whole thing, is I use Tez because he was a guy who had opportunity, came in and was, like, productive, but just everyone knew that he was kind of mid, and that he would be gone as soon as any more competent wide receiver was back healthy in that offense, and that is just what happened. You know what I mean? Just a running back who gets opportunity and does well, a tight end who gets opportunity and does well, a quarterback that gets opportunity and does well, gains way more value and sustains that value way more than like a wide receiver that everyone thinks is mid who has opportunity suddenly and like does well for a short period of time. I get you. It's not horrible. It's not a horrible pick, Patrick, and I don't want you to leave. You should stay a while. No, and honestly, I do respect not like following your own takes and doing your own thing and not just like falling in line and doing as you're told and all that stuff. I don't want anyone to do that. I want everyone to believe what they believe and make the takes and the moves that they have. I'm just gonna let you know when I disagree. Jonas says that we can thank San Fran for drafting Stribling and Black instead of real players, which pushed Stowers up the board, which is very funny. And Braden says that the 49ers got roasted on Ayuk and Pearsall picks as well, and both of them have turned out to be good NFL wide receivers. Obviously, neither of those really have worked out like long term, but we'll see. We shall see. Like, the 49ers is definitely the place where a mediocre wide receiver can be developed and shine. So I'll give it to you there. And, I think that's a fine pick at the 206. Not bad pick at all. Let's see. Wilter White says, how do you feel about Coleman being picked at the 112 and his outlook in Denver? He's a pretty good running back prospect. Like, I like Coleman, but I mean, 4th round draft capital isn't super exciting, reassuring, whatever you want to call it. And then it's crowded. Like, it just feels like there's 3 guys that are pretty similar, like, level of talent as running backs in the room right now. But, if Coleman exceeds expectations, I don't think it's crazy that he could establish himself as the clear number 1 as early as this season. Like, if Coleman just hits and is really good, I don't think that Dobbins or Harvey would necessarily be able to stand in his way. So, that's kind of what I think of Coleman, but still, like, a 4th round pick, it's higher than I would want to draft him, but there's just not really a lot of better guys to pick. I think I have Coleman at like the 2-1 right now, because I think I would probably just take Boston ahead of Coleman, but it's close, like same tier. We have some more picks going off the board here after Zachariah Branch. We have Malachi Fields. We have Claiborne going to Minnesota, which is a pretty decent landing spot. There's definitely opportunity in Minnesota. Skylar Bell going to Buffalo and going to unload reload at the 3-9. Talk about, potentially opportunity. But I am not confident that Bell will rise above DJ Moore in the depth chart. I think that he could overtake Shakir potentially, right, if he hits like a higher end outcome, and Kincaid on just like target share numbers and production. But I just don't. He's not a guy that I see overtaking like DJ Moore for the season. So pretty good draft for DJ Moore specifically, with the best pass catcher that Buffalo took being Bell. I think this is a good spot for Bell. Brazel going to Carolina. You're being drafted at the 310. Interesting pick for the Panthers. We'll have to see if Brazel, overtakes Coker, or if maybe the wide receiver room will just get so crowded that neither Brazel or Coker can be relevant. Hopefully, we can see a little bit more out of Teteroa McMillan heading into 2026, but Bryce Young passing volume and passing efficiency just are not something that gets me excited about a wide receiver 2 in an offense. Hurst going to Tampa at the 311, and then Caleb Douglas at the 312 to Miami. Klubnik at the 4-1, Green at the 4-2, Miller at the 4-3, Heidenreich at the 4-4, and Randall at the 4-5. Oh, I'm just now realizing that earlier somebody asked about Jackson, like Henry/Jackson backfield, and I forgot the name of the running back that Baltimore drafted, and I definitely just went with like that Randall was his actual name, like his first name was Jackson. And that's what the person who asked the question was talking about. That's my mistake. They definitely meant Lamar Jackson. I literally never see Lamar referred to as Jackson. Like, that messes with my head, honestly, thinking about that now. So that's my mistake. I'm silly. I always, like, you're talking about Lamar. You say Lamar. So not that I forget who that was that asked the question. Not that that's your fault. That's definitely my fault. Just not kind of how my brain thought whenever I saw Henry/Jackson. So to take 2 steps back, the offensive line being better, good for Lamar Jackson. That's funny. And then Jam Miller. That's funny. Going at the 4-3 here, just a late round running back flyer, going to the Patriots. Pretty crowded room already. Heidenreich going to Pittsburgh. Maybe they can use him as a gadget guy. Both the running back, like the backfield, and the receiving room are pretty crowded in Pittsburgh. So, not really a landing spot that I would be super excited about. And then Bredson. Again, these late Max Bredston. I just don't know these late round players' names very well. Of course, because we just started talking about some of these guys in the last couple of days. Okay, so going back to the chat for just a little bit, Braden says, I think Coleman is a fine pick. JK isn't long-term, and Harvey showed he's not good at football, just good at running fast in open field. Yeah, like, there's a lot of opportunity. Definitely, there's a lot of opportunity in Denver for him to take over. But again, 4th round running back, absolutely no guarantee that Coleman is any good at the NFL level either. So we will just have to wait and see. Shamrock, happy to have you over here, my friend. It's okay that you're late. We're just happy to have you. Yeah, how you going crazy after signing a second contract isn't a reflection on their choice of 1st round wide receivers. Yeah, I'm just messing around, Braden. Okay, so Shamrock thinks that Coleman wins the job as a Denver fan. Harvey was not great, and Dobbins has been hurt a ton. Yeah, I mean, again, we'll just have to see. I think there's a lot of opportunity. He has the opportunity to overtake both of those players. I agree. We'll just see if he does. Let's see. Talking about Harvey. Still talking about Harvey in the chat. Let's see. Okay. Jam Miller, good combine guy. Okay. We'll see. Yeah, we'll see what he does. Maybe the Patriots move on from Ramondre, and Jam and Henderson can go crazy. That'd be fun. I mean, the Patriots is definitely an offense that I want to have fantasy pieces of. Absolutely. After Max Bredston, there was a short little run here on tight ends going. Ooh, and we're continuing the tight end run. I love these late round tight end shots. Matthew Hibner going to Baltimore. And then Delp going to the Saints. And Trigg. Is this Michael Trigg? Yeah, Michael Trigg going to the Cowboys. Could be a good landing spot. If Trigg is good, I don't love Ferguson. Like I just kind of think Ferguson's kind of mid. So if Trigg is good, I think he could overtake Ferg. It's funny. I was looking at like the Baltimore draft, and I forget which one is which, but they drafted 2 tight ends, and looking at the players, it's like they drafted basically a likely replacement and a Kolar replacement. So it's like, Andrews had the tight end room to himself for all of like a month. before they just kind of backfilled it with like the exact same archetype of players. I would assume Hibner, if he's being drafted here, he's like the pass catching, the smaller pass catcher, and not like the bigger like main blocker guy, but I could be wrong. Let's see. So Tom says that he turned his brain off and went full Vikings homer after the Surratt pick. So let's see. How bad did you go? So Claiborne, probably, yeah, there probably was a reach on Claiborne. I am interested in him. I don't think it's horrible. I am interested. Not the best prospect, but goes to a favorable situation there. And then, yeah, and you took Bredston as well. So, hey, take your guys. I mean, if you picked players off of, like, hair color or eye color or something, you know, in this range, you probably wouldn't do worse than anyone else. Okay, to finish out the draft, we have Nussmeier, who goes to KC. And then we have Jaden Ott also going to Kansas City, late round running back, Jaden Ott. And then Marlon Klein, second round tight end or third round tight end, going to the Houston Texans. Let's see. Guess we can't really rate specific people's drafts, but we can look for fun. Skynet getting Jam Miller and Washington here. Two interesting combine prospects. Gavinderly, Stowers, and Heidenreich. Light on the picks here as well. Millpal, more picks. Tyson, Singleton, Bernard, Branch, Brazel, Hurst, and Nussmeier. Bench got Tate, Coleman, Beck, Douglas, Klein, and Fields. Tom took a bunch of Vikings. Unload Reload just had late round picks. Raptor here really wanted some tight end help after drafting Jadarian Price. Nico got Mendoza, Concepcion, Katron Allen, and Drew Allar. Nico had only a couple picks, but early picks. So Mendoza, oh wait, I just did that. Okay. David, some later round picks, but did get Boston at the 2-2, like that. Matty Bollock has 0 picks. Jay Hare has a good portion of these first rounders. Simpson, Cooper, and Lemon. That's pretty sweet out of the rookie draft. And then Patrick, another guy with quite a few picks. Jeremiah Love, Kenyon Sadiq, Chris Bell, Stribling, Emmett Johnson, Jalen Lane, and some fourth round guys. I like what you did here. Patrick. I might be mean to you, but that doesn't mean I love you any less, okay? I think you did good. Excitement is relative. Braden says excitement is relative when you're deep in the 4th round. Yeah, it is relative. Absolutely, it is relative. But Braden also says that Hibner is a sharp pick. I think so. 2 here in the 4th round. I think it's a sharp pick, right? Because, I mean, and it's the same thing with Likely, right? Andrews is old. If we see anything from Hibner, people are going to say he's the next Andrews. They like to use their tight ends in Baltimore. And so even if Hibner does literally nothing or does next to nothing, he could just gain value just like Isaiah Likely. Bredston caught 2 passes for 11 yards in 2025. That's funny. Wasn't Sadiq's production really bad too? Though didn't he only have 50 yards or something? 80 yards in 2025. Great value on Michael Trigg. Yeah, honestly, with that landing spot, Trigg is a guy that I looked at. Oh, okay, he had 560 yards. I thought I saw something that he had really bad production, but maybe that was in a previous season, and I just don't remember. Let's see. great value on Trig. Okay, I got Alar at the 4-1 in one of my leagues. That's a good pick. The 4-1 Alar is a really good pick. I really like drafting quarterbacks in like later in these rookie drafts, because you just never know. Like, we pretty much know, but you just also kind of never know. So that's a great pick at the 4-1, and I think that these were fine picks here as well. Like where Beck and Alar were taken in this draft. Russell says, sorry if I missed it, but what do you think of the Gibbs Achane trade in Live League 1? I think I looked at it, and I'll tell you guys the trade here in 1 second once I get it pulled up. Okay, so Pickens and Achane for Gibbs in the 105. I was looking at this, and honestly, I kept going back and forth on it, because on the one hand, like, Jahmyr Gibbs and the 105, that seems awesome. But then on the other hand, I'm like, Achane and Pickens, that also seems awesome. Like, I'm just high on Achane, and then the 105 has lost quite a bit. Has lost a bit of value, maybe, I don't know, like, there was a time when the 105, you could get one of the top 3 wide receiver prospects with that pick, or like, that's what people thought. Now it's like Mendoza, who's lost value, Price, who has gained value, but is still like, you know, right around Mendoza. And then like Concepcion, who had leapfrogged Mendoza, getting drafted to Cleveland, is kind of fallen back down in value. So I think that this is a pretty fair trade. When I really think about it, but I think I just prefer the Gibbs side, just for the sake of Jahmyr Gibbs having that elite asset. I probably would have preferred down tiering from Gibbs to Achane, and then just getting like a 27 first, or maybe getting like the maybe like a 106, 107 on top of Achane, and not done like the Pickens 105 swap, because really like the 105 rookie could very easily be valued over Pickens. So I don't know. I think it's pretty even. I really do. I think like that I just lean the Gibbs side like very slightly because it's Gibbs. But I think it's like it's a fine trade, and for your side, like, yeah, that's definitely, I think, the more contending side of the trade to get Achane and Pickens, because you know you get 2 relatively high scoring assets. The 105, I mean, if you take Price there, but even then, I think that like Pickens and Achane probably outproduce Gibbs and Price. Yeah, that's the trade. I honestly, I went back and forth like 3 or 4 times when I was looking at the trade, and I just like could not decide which side I actually liked better. So I think that just means it's a good solid trade. Cole Payton about to go undrafted. Let's see. Shamrock, I have Randall, Stribling, Heinrich, and Alar available on waivers post rookie drafts. Who would you guys blow fab on? I would definitely do Stribling and Alar. Those are like the 2 that I would do fab on. Even if I don't love Stribling, like, just get him. He was the 33rd overall pick. I think somebody will probably get excited about him at some point. Let's see. So yeah, the chat's just talking a little bit more about Stribling. James says that he got KC Concepcion at the 108, which I think is pretty good. James, let me know who went ahead of those like 2 or 3 picks ahead of KC, because KC I think should be gone by the 107. Was it like Cooper, Sadiq, Simpson? Like who jumped him in that draft that you were in? I'm just curious. And then Nick says, sorry if I missed it, but what did you think of my trade with Finch, where I traded Ramondre for a couple fourths because I saw Sleeper didn't have their players ranked appropriately. Unfortunately, others noticed. Ramondre for a couple of fourths is totally a good trade. I mean, at that, like fourths, it's like it's whatever. I don't have Ramondre ranked very highly, but at the same time, like the fourths are not worth much. So I think I like the Ramondre side. Nick said, also, you know how I feel about these up-tier prices, but it felt like the first was free along with Gibbs. Yeah, so like Achane and Pickens going up to Gibbs. I think that where other people are valuing Achane, because he's kind of slid a little bit in the community census, like getting Gibbs and Pickens, getting Achane and Pickens in exchange for Gibbs is like honestly pretty close to market value. I just really like Achane, and man, I'm much higher on Achane than consensus right now. And so Achane is closer to Gibbs for me than for most people. But if you're valuing Achane at like late second, early third type prices, then yeah, like the Gibbs side was a big win. But I do like Achane a lot, so I think it's closer. Do still think I prefer the Gibbs side by a little bit in terms of value. Again, the Pickens Achane side looks to be the more competitive of the end of the trade. Sadiq, okay, James says Sadiq and Price went ahead of KC in my draft. Yeah, that's kind of what I expected. So that's a good price to get Concepcion at. I really like him as a prospect. Shamrock says that my draft went Love, Tate, Tyson, Lemon, Mendoza, Casey, and then Cooper, Stowers, Price. Dang, that's late for Price. And then Sadiq is that the 112? Dang. Oh no, that was Sadiq at the 10 pick. I think. I can't count. No, Sadiq at the 11. Okay. Yeah, taking that seems like Shamrock, was that pre-draft or post draft? Rookie draft, right? Because that looks like pre-draft. Well, no, it's not, because Sadiq fell a ton. But yeah, that price on price, funny, was really good. Great. Rosie Posey says, great stream, great draft. I appreciate you. Thanks for coming along. And then also says, congrats on 500 subs and good night. Yeah, good night to you too, my friend. Thanks for stopping by and hanging out. Very excited to hit 500. Let's see. Braden says, I was really torn between Casey and Price in this draft. I decided I needed a third starting running back. I do realize drafting for need isn't a great choice, but it was close for me anyway. Yeah, and that's the same price. Same tier for Price. And Concepcion, I think at this point with the draft capital, some people are taking Price even higher. So I, do not bat an eye. I think Price at the 1.6 is totally fine. Over Concepcion there. Yeah, as long as you're within the same like value tier, drafting for need is totally fine. And if it sounds like you just like Price as well, and so it's totally fine to just like Price more than Concepcion with these landing spots. Oh, Shamrock, that's sick. That is sick that you had all three of those late firsts, and Price fell, and then you also got Simpson and Sadiq. I agree with you there, Nick. Does anyone have any pressing, like, post NFL draft questions or anything that you wanted to discuss briefly? If not, then I think that we are about wrapping up the stream tonight. It was super fun getting to do this rookie draft live. Thank you for everyone that made yourselves available to draft on stream tonight. I really, really appreciate it. Hopefully we can work out the live league number 1 for next Monday, have another live rookie draft going, but let's see if there are any pressing questions. Let's see. James says, check out Jeff Caldwell. He's a freak. UDFA to the Chiefs. Okay. I haven't had a chance to dive into the free agency stuff yet. So that's a great tip, because I definitely need to be getting on that, trying to decipher through all these like late round picks from the NFL draft. I am probably a little slower than some of the larger channels, but just trying to do a good job and make sure I'm not putting out information that I do not feel confident in for you guys. Khalil Dinkins. I will look into Khalil Dinkins as well. Ooh, future Kittle. Okay. Well, those are some players that I will be on the lookout for, gentlemen. But thank you all for joining me here tonight and hanging out. But I think that we're going to close it down. If you have any questions or want to chat about anything else, feel free to ask questions in the Discord, and I usually respond to those within about a day or so. All right. Thank you and good night, everybody.